The craziest app on the PS5 just got crazier. The Evil Dead game just got delayed, gamers are mad at Sony, and are we going to see anything from them at Gamescom? So when it comes to making games out of really good horror franchises, it seems like the way to go for a lot of developers is to make an asynchronous horror multiplayer game. We've got Dead by Daylight, which is the biggest one, and honestly, it's kind of the only one still around. It has every slasher in it, essentially, and then we also had Friday the 13th, the game, which was, yeah, kind of like a buggy mess, but it was a ton of fun because the movies were kind of like a buggy mess themselves, if you really think about it. And then we were all kind of looking forward to, in my horror circles, the Evil Dead game coming from Saber Interactive, which was supposed to be out in October this year, right around Halloween, and unfortunately it just got delayed till 2022. Now I know that when these horror games are announced, people are always skeptical, A, because stuff like Dead by Daylight is monetized to hell and just full of microtransactions, and B, again, with Friday the 13th, the game, they never really were able to get on top of the bugs, and then the lawsuit that is like the reason we're not getting Friday the 13th movies basically made them stop working on the game altogether. So like, yeah, I can kind of see the skepticism, but this Evil Dead game is being worked on by Saber Interactive, who are the people behind the World War Z game, which if you guys haven't played it, I know it's based on a movie that isn't very good, and it's definitely not based on the amazing book that the movie was based on in really any way. So yeah, like the basic structure of it is a lot like Left 4 Dead. You've got 4 characters that are taking on a ton of zombies, but it was actually a lot cooler than its basic premise because of one key feature. So it actually started out as a pitch for a multiplayer mode for Days Gone, because Days Gone has all of that insane horde tech. It would really make sense for a Left 4 Dead style mode where you could take on hordes of zombies together. It didn't move forward over at Ben Studios and Sony, so then they got the World War Z license and made it a World War Z game because that was a zombie movie that dealt with really big hordes, like zombies piling on top of each other and getting over the walls in Jerusalem, stuff like that. The tech in the game works really well. It does definitely have a little bit of jank, but as time has gone on, they've really improved it. It's been given away for free on PlayStation, it's been given away for free on PC, and everyone who plays it comes away positive for the most part. And now it's getting a huge update later this year on PS5 that makes it be able to be played in first person, which is kind of pitting it against Back 4 Blood, which is kind of crazy. So yeah, the people who made that are Saber Interactive. The people who are making the Evil Dead game are also Saber Interactive. They have experience making a good licensed multiplayer horror game, and the Evil Dead game, based on everything we've seen from it, has looked really good. You've got Ash being played by Bruce Campbell, you've got the cabin from Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, it looks amazing. You've got Kelly and Pablo from Ash vs. Evil Dead. Like, if you're an Evil Dead fan, which, just gonna be honest with you guys, Evil Dead is probably my favorite horror franchise ever. Evil Dead 2 is one of my favorite movies of all time. I watch it all the time. It's just impossible not to be excited for this, A, because you've got a good team working on it, and B, because they're actually really caring about the property. So while I'm bummed that it's getting delayed into 2022, I think it was smart, but for the most part, delays are good, and I will definitely be playing the Evil Dead game in 2022. And real quick, before we get into the next story, I just looked, and like 82% of you guys aren't subscribed who are watching right now, so make sure you subscribe and set your notifications to all, or I'm gonna get my chainsaw hand ready and not tell you anything that I'm going to do with it. So even though we just got a beta for a great update on the PS5, the biggest issue that Sony cannot seem to solve is getting the PS5 itself into gamers' hands. Usually when it goes up on sale, a lot of scalpers buy it. They sell it for around like $750 to $1,000 because people are buying them for that price. But most of all, there just aren't a lot of games to play on the PS5, and there aren't a lot of PS5s that are in people's hands. Those are the two biggest problems facing the console. And Sony kind of stepped in it earlier this week when on the PlayStation Twitter, they tweeted out, hey, what you playing? And a lot of people had a lot to say about how they're not playing anything because the last game we got on the PS5 that was an actual full-on exclusive was Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, which by all accounts you could basically platinum in a weekend. I know I got pretty damn close in the one weekend I played that game. I have like, I think 75% of the trophies. Now, of course, we do have some PS5 exclusive stuff to look forward to, like Deathloop, which ironically is being published by Microsoft, but the other game we had to look forward to was Horizon Forbidden West, and we all are pretty certain that that one's getting pushed out of 2021 into early 2022, which again, like, I get it. I get why that's an issue. There isn't going to be a lot to play exclusively on PS5, but there are going to be some pretty big games at the end of of the year, like Battlefield. So like, I feel like we're gonna be okay. And if you release Horizon around March or April, that's kind of when it came out originally on the PS4, the first game in the series. So having that gap of 5 years is just nice. Like, it feels good to think about in my brain. But on the other hand, I really get why people are upset, because I'm kind of upset. I got a PS5 at launch. I was able to just pre-order it on Amazon, and I was really expecting a lot of first-party games from Sony that were also exclusive to the PS5. Now, I get that the argument people have whenever someone brings up that these PS4 ports are holding the PS5 games back is that they're really not, because they're making these games for PS5 and then they're porting them back a little bit to run on PS4. It's not like they're making them on PS4 and making them run better on PS5, but I don't really care, because I want the PS5 to be supported with exclusive games. Like, yeah, we got Returnal. It is a PS5 exclusive. We got Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. It's a PS5 exclusive. When you look at the future, Horizon Forbidden West, coming to PS4. God of War 2, coming to PS4. Gran Turismo 7, coming to PS4. All of these games, when they were announced, had no mention of the PS4, and as time goes on, they keep throwing this little PS4 badge on there. Like, this week, when I'm recording this video, Godfall, which, yes, that is a terrible PS5 game. I don't like it. I think it's a bad game. It doesn't matter. It's coming to PS4 this week, when they did all this marketing to say that it can only run on the PS5 because of all the crazy stuff they're doing in it. Like, I just don't think it's good that we have a next-gen console that's truly next-gen and has an awesome SSD and a new controller with awesome haptic feedback that's being treated like the PS4 Pro. The only thing that I guess makes it less frustrating is that we know that Sony is working on games, and in like a year we'll be looking back and we won't even remember this. Like, we won't remember how dry the PS5's life cycle was at the beginning, because this exact same thing happened with the PS3, and by the end of that console's life cycle, everyone was calling it one of the best consoles ever. So there's the silver lining there. There have been so many rumors about a Bloodborne port coming to PC and PS5 lately that I feel like something's happening with the Souls franchise, and one of the biggest leakers around the PlayStation world has revealed that yes, it looks like Sony is working with From Software again on an exclusive PS5 Souls game. Now, the funny thing is, the guy who's been leaking all this stuff is named Special Nick, and he actually has an Xbox podcast called Xbox Era, but he's been right with a lot of the leaks that he's had before. And not only did he say that Sony is, yes, working on a full PS5 exclusive game that's going to be from Software in the Souls universe, they're also planning on bringing back the Wipeout series for PSVR 2, and it's going to be outsourced because, as we all know, they closed down Sony London, who was the studio that basically existed to make Wipeout. Now, the weird thing about this is that when Dark Souls 3 came out, From Software said they were basically done with the Dark Souls series, but that doesn't mean they couldn't make another Bloodborne. They could also make a sequel to Sekiro. Like, there's a lot of options in which they could make a new game in the Souls series that isn't really connected to Dark Souls, because as we all know, Demon Souls is the first Souls game. It was published by Sony, and it's not really connected to Dark Souls. I'm sure there's some like tangential links in Demon Souls that connected to Dark Souls in a weird, like, esoteric way, but as far as most people are concerned, Dark Souls is not a sequel to Demon Souls. It's like a, at most, spiritual successor. And since Bloodborne is one of the best games ever released for the PS4, I could totally see Sony wanting to work with From Software again. Like, their games don't always sell the most copies, but the people who buy them multiple times. They're willing to buy DLC. They play every nook and cranny of the games and really keep them alive through like posting screenshots, posting cool battle videos online, posting PvP videos, stuff like that. So I feel like Sony would be kind of dumb to not focus on a Souls game, because Microsoft doesn't have a good competitor to the Souls series. And Wipeout, if you guys haven't heard of it, is basically like a first-person spaceship racing game. Like, they're hovercrafts that look like slot cars. I don't really know how to explain it. Like, they kind of look like hovercraft F1 cars. It was really well known for its sense of speed, and the Wipeout games have already come to PSVR 1 and they're really fun. So knowing that Sony's working on the PSVR 2 for a release probably in the next couple of years, having a Wipeout game at launch would be super smart. So now that Jeff Keighley isn't working on E3, he's basically bounced around from the Game Awards and doing the opening live show for Gamescom, which is the European version of E3, which has way more people going to it. And now we know he is doing the opening night live in 2021 for Gamescom, and it's this week. The bummer there is that Sony isn't actually going to be at Gamescom, but I really think we could see something from them at Jeff Keighley's opening night live event, event, because as we all know, Sony wasn't really supposed to be at Jeff Keighley's Summer Game Fest, but they did announce Death Stranding's director's cut on the opening night stream. So I feel like if Jeff Keighley is going to be at Gamescom doing the opening night stream there, we could see some cool announcements that aren't in this new state of play that's happening this Thursday. So yeah, if you want to potentially see some new PS5 games, maybe even an exclusive from Sony, tune into the opening night live event for Gamescom on August 25th at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That was not an ad, I just had to read the same line on my phone a lot and I remembered it really well. And another thing I really wanted to highlight for you guys today is this awesome custom PS5 that's made to look like the PS1 edition of the PS4 we got when that had its like 25th anniversary, I'm pretty sure it was. So of course, if you're making a PS1 inspired PS5, the first thing you do is spray paint the plates gray, and whoever did this did an incredible job with that, but they didn't stop there. They made the side panels on their DualSense controller gray as well, but they didn't stop there because on their DualSense they also painted the side panels gray and the touchpad gray, and they replaced the PS button with that nice rainbow colored PS logo we got on the PS1. And then finally, the face buttons have the right colors just like they had them on the PS1. This thing looks incredible. I think I could probably make mine look like this if I wanted to void the warranty, but if I was one of those lucky people out there who managed to have two PS5s, I think I would probably try this out. So when you look at the PS5 store right now, one of the top games trending every single day is Splitgate, which is basically Halo meets Portal. And you guys know how I feel about it. I really like it. I talked about it in a video last week. And thank you so much to everyone who let me know that the reason the grenade was not hurting people is because it just gets rid of portals. So the reason I didn't know that is the first time I played this game, it was on PC. I was playing it with my friend after a long Destiny session, and we both just skipped right through the tutorial and skipped all of that. But you know what? When I went on PS5 to capture gameplay for the video, I did play the tutorial and I realized that yes, the grenades are for getting rid of portals. I understand that now, but for the most part, this game is awesome. It plays a lot like Halo, like the guns are basically one-to-one. You've got the assault rifle, you've got the battle rifle, you've got the plasma rifle, you've got the SMG, you've got a sniper rifle that feels really good to use. You've got all the classic Halo modes like SWAT and Team Deathmatch and Oddball, like they're literally called the same stuff that they're called in Halo, and it just plays so well. I know that there's a lot of games that come to PS5 and they say like, yeah, we're trying to be like an arena shooter like Halo, but then you play them and they just feel a little jank. The benefit that Splitgate has is that it's been in development for a really long time and it's been basically out and playable on PC since May of 2019. So they fine-tuned it a lot and the gameplay feels excellent. The jetpack is really cool. That's a nice little addition they have there. The clamber feels great. The one issue I have with it still is that when you melee people, there's just like a little bit of a noticeable delay and it's gotten me killed a couple times, but it's in beta. So if they can work that out by the full release, I think they're gonna be just fine. But the team working on Splitgate did say they are working on a native PS5 port, and the first thing they threw around was 4K graphics at 120 FPS. And I can tell you, this game will easily run at 4K 120 on the PS5 because that's what I play it at on my PC. My PC is pretty good, but it is a laptop. I have a 3080, and again, it is a laptop, so it's a little bit slower than the desktop one. I think about 40% slower than like a desktop graphics card, but I am able to max out Splitgate, lock it at 4K, lock it at 120 frames per second, no problem. So the PS5, like, there's no chance I won't be able to run it at that spec, and that's awesome. Now, I know the textures in the game aren't all that incredible or anything like that, but if you throw in some ray tracing or some cool lighting, it'll really improve it overall, and the fact that it uses so much color in its world does a lot of heavy lifting that the texture work and just overall graphical style don't. I think it kind of goes without saying, but this update for the PS5 is definitely farther down the line because they weren't expecting it to be as big as it is. Like, it was supposed to be already in its 1.0 state, but they actually had to push it back about a month into deep August because they didn't have enough servers to take advantage of all the people who wanted to play the game. And I will say they've done a really good job at opening up the servers and making sure that more people were able to get in. Like, when I started this game on PS5, the reason I initially played it on PC was because the queue was so much shorter on PC. On PS5, people were waiting up to 90 minutes to get in, but when I went to get gameplay later, I was able to get in like 2 minutes. So they're doing a really good job, and I'm glad to see that this like indie game that's actually been around for a while now is blowing up so much on PS5. So last week, you guys probably caught in my video when I stopped for a second to check if there was an update to the Abandoned app, because on the day that it was supposed to come out, we sat there for an hour waiting for it to update, and it never did, so we decided to start shooting the video. The Blue Box Twitter account was going off all day saying that they had engine issues, they had stuff pop up at the last second, and that they'd let people know when they had something figured out. And it didn't actually come until a few days later when they just randomly updated the app and tweeted out, yep, the patch is available now for the app. You can download it now and check out the full trailer for the game. And then after that, weirdly enough, they started deleting all the tweets that were talking about what went wrong with the app. But I went on my PS5, I downloaded the update, and I was actually really excited. It felt like we were finally getting something from these guys. And then once I started up the app, all of that excitement turned to disappointment in a matter of seconds. So when you look at this app, it's actually pretty cool. I noticed immediately that it uses the same font as The Last of Us and The Last of Us Part 2, which is kind of bizarre, but it's basically just a bunch of boxes with stuff that says coming soon. It's implying that we're going to see trailers, that there's going to be gameplay demos and other stuff coming to the app as time goes on. The big issue I immediately had though is that instead of giving us the full trailer that they were kind of implying would be in this app from the start, when you click on the trailer that's in the app, it's just the same one they posted on the Blue Box Twitter just a couple days prior. So we downloaded this app, we waited days later than we were supposed to for the update, which was already delayed because this app was supposed to be out for well over a month at this point, and then they just repost the trailer we already knew was in there. So I'm just gonna say I'm holding strong on my theory that something bigger is going on here. It's all just way too weird. Like leading up to the app, one of the trailers they released used music from a band called Apocalyptica, which is the same band that Hideo Kojima used in the Death Stranding trailer. And just a couple days before this whole app debacle happened, Kojima tweeted out that he was listening to the same song that would be in the trailer that we would get to see. Like, it's just all too weird. And then on top of that, the Studio Blue Box getting a full PlayStation blog post, getting that exclusive PlayStation 5 branding that Sony does not give out all that often, the fact that they're working with multiple studios despite the fact that they never released a full game, like it's just way too weird. We're just gonna have to wait and see until they update the app, unfortunately, with a full trailer. I hope it comes sooner rather than later, but of course, whenever they talk about it, they use vague wording, they don't give us any dates, they just say soon. So we'll just have to wait and see. But if you wanna know what's going on with Abandon pretty much as soon as it happens, make sure you're subscribed here with your notifications set to all. Anyway guys, that's all the PlayStation news I have for you today. Make sure you let me know what you think down in the comments below. And remember, if you want to stay PS ready, subscribe and set your notifications to all. As always guys, my name is Jimmy Champagne and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.